moment for people to connect. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So I'm going to call our meeting to order. Today is January 26, 2021. This is a business meeting of the North Kingstown School Committee. If I could ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
free,
justice for all.
Okay, and if we could have the clerk please call the roll.
Okay, should I start with you, Mr.
Sure. Here.
Mrs. Hildebrand?
Here.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Here.
Mrs. Lima?
Here.
Mr. Mather?
Here.
Mrs. Schott?
She's here, she's waiting.
Here.
I can't unmute.
I'll fix that for her.
Jacob Cedar? Owen Grace?
I don't see either of them. So we'll say they aren't here this evening. Those are our student representatives. And if you could please call the roll. I did the roll. Sorry, the calendar.
Yes, the calendar. Okay, for the calendar, if you're looking, the first entry for February 2nd, 2021 has been canceled. And the second, February 16th, 2021 school committee business meeting will be our next meeting.
Thank you very much. So for presentations and recognitions, our first presentation will be the high school program of studies, but does anyone have any recognitions this evening?
I have recognitions from the art department at the high school and a couple of things from the elementary.
Okay, Dr. Manzeri?
Great. So senior Alexander Thoreau and freshman Juliana Brennan's artwork was chosen to be part of the New England Highly Competitive Emerging Young Artists 2021 jury exhibition hosted by UMass Dartmouth College of Visual and Performing Arts website from January 22nd through February 6, 2021. 431 pieces of artwork were submitted and only 88 were chosen. Congratulations to them both. Olivia Wood, grade 10, has her artwork titled Silence and Violence, featured on North Kingstown School Committee member Jennifer Lee's Tank, posted anti-racist North Kingstown Facebook page. In addition, North Kingstown art teacher Robin Kasparian has had her student artwork also featured as part of the slideshow presentation on the event on MLK Day. Congratulations to all of them.
Okay.
Eve Piazza, grade 11, won Sonia's Artist of the Week for January 24th through the 30th. So be sure to check out the artsonia.com where you'll see Eve's 250 artwork featured for the next few days. As a winner, she'll receive both an award plaque that features her artwork, as well as a $50 gift certificate courtesy of Dick Quick. In this year's Terror Gallery postcard competition, Gabriella Neves won second place and Nicolette Goldstein won third place. Both seniors will have their artwork featured on the poster announcing this show along with first place winner. And then North Kingstown High School will have 46 pieces of artwork competed for other awards during the show on February 6th. Good luck to all of our participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Joni, I'll have this for you and you can have it for tomorrow.
So next we have the presentation on the high school program of studies for 21-22.
Yep, so I'm not sure whether Shavali and Barbara can unmute themselves.
Yep, let's fix that.
So our assistant principal at the high school, Shavali, is working, has worked on the program studies, and I think she's prepared tonight to say a few words about the program studies.
And I don't see Barbara Morse.
She's here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry. You are the Barbara Rhode Island. Okay. And the two of you can unmute yourselves now.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Shivali Finkelstein, and I'm the assistant principal. This is my first year at North Kingstown High School, and I absolutely am enjoying my work experience. So good to see everyone tonight. I put together in your agenda packet the program of studies just at a glance, so you can have a quick glance of what, I'm sure you don't want to read all the pages and go through all of that. Everything else remained the same. So I kind of put together a little bit of a glance document that I'm just kind of going to go over really quickly, and then I'll just open up for any questions that you may have. So the first item on there is just the requirements for class of 2024 was added, as you can see in that graphic. That is new because of the financial literacy requirement that was added on. So that was the only piece that was fixed in there. So we have that for the incoming freshman class that was added on to the program of studies. The next piece that was added we added 2 new courses into the program of studies, which will now also count as technology requirements. One is the computer integrated technology class, and one is the principles of engineering class. And I'll speak a little bit more about it towards the end of the presentation. One of the pieces we felt that we needed to kind of fix in the program of studies was to make the dual and concurrent enrollment tuition fees and how everything works very clear to the families. Over the summer, there was a lot of confusion where parents did not understand what's covered by the state, what tuition is picked up by the district. So we just kind of changed the language, as you can see there on page 13. Tuition and fees for the full-time Running Start program, which this year we have more than 12 students participating in that. Generally, it's about 5 to 6 students year to year that go to the Running Start, but this year we had a pretty high number of students taking advantage of that program. That is something that is covered through the district's funding, so we kind of made that a little clear. Part-time enrollment tuition and fees that includes concurrent enrollment are actually covered through the state. So it's just a difference that sometimes parents don't know specifically, so we kind of just cleaned the language up and made that a little clear. Moving to the next item, which is on page 14, we've added a little language and also changed the policy to match with the Rhode Island general law, which we have cited in there, that the full-time Running Start students that attend CCRI are actually not required to take PE and health classes. So traditionally, they would be enrolled in the Running Start program, and then they would come to the high school to take the PE courses, or we would require them to take additional PE health courses at the campus, and they would have to pay for it on their own. So that is something that the General Assembly had passed 2 years ago, and so we put that in the program of studies, made it very clear that the students are waived from that requirement, so they will not be required to come take PE health classes at the high school. We do have a requirement for CPR certification that we offer to seniors, so that is one piece we are working out, how we can still offer families of Running Start program that option to take the CPR class at the high school, but it would not be a requirement for them to take the PE class. So that's something that we highlighted in the program of studies. The next item, which is interesting, and I provided some graphics for you to see, and I did give you a significant explanation there, just so you can understand how this all came about. So a few years ago, just to give you a little background, a few years ago, the Success Academy classes, the curriculum for the Success Academy classes was reviewed, and these are some of the students that come to us at significant grade levels below the grade level that they are at. So our teachers work and department chairs worked on the curriculum for Success Academy to be something that covers the gap, identifies gaps for the students in those courses, and personalizes instruction for them to be able to reach the same level as any other CPR honors classes. Because the curriculum was modified and adjusted to meet the needs of students, there was a variance in the GPA scales, as you can see on that graphic. And then a couple years ago, and I wasn't there, but I did some homework on it, a couple years ago, Barbara Morse, who was a teaching and learning assistant principal at the time, had sat down with the guidance department and they had invited somebody from URI to look at the grade scales and give us some feedback. So the graphic that you see, the old graphic that you see on the next page is kind of how the GPAs were set up. And then since then, there has been some significant work done on the curriculum to ramp up the curriculum for the Success Academy students to kind of build them up and bring them up. And our goal always for Success Academy students is to kind of move them to the CP level as they progress, which is always our goal. Sometimes it works for some students, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they stay in the essay classes until they graduate, but we are always evaluating the curriculum. So when I first took the job and I started to evaluate the program studies, I came from outside in with fresh eyes, and my first thing I noticed was there was a significant difference with where the GPA scale started for the essay students compared to CP, honors, and AP students. And even if you look at the horizontally or vertically, if you look at the pattern, it's a little bit off from the other classes. So I questioned it. We had a pretty rich discussion at the department chair meeting, and we collected some feedback from the teachers of Success Academy, and their feedback was, yeah, it's time. We have done a lot of work in our curriculum. We have really ramped up these courses. It's time for us to take a second look at the variance between the essay classes and the other levels and kind of adjust that a little bit. So what you are seeing is the old graphic, the new graphic, and then the changes we made to the scale to match up as close as possible to the other classes, to the other levels. We also did some research and called around, and we did find that a student that would have strong B pluses may have issues if they have issue based on our old scale, would have sometimes have issue getting admitted into colleges, or they may fall short with the GPA required, even if they were a strong B plus student in the essay classes. So we felt that with all the curriculum work we had done and with all the research we did, we felt pretty comfortable going up a level on what GPA is assigned to the Success Academy students. And so that's where you see all those numbers coming from. And I'll just finish up this and then I'll open up to questions. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer that. Moving on to the last part.
Did you say something? Not the green one, either of the others. I mean, the green one is crap.
Go ahead.
Okay, on page 25, there was just in the careers department, there was just a course that we removed due to low enrollment. Page 26, we have added 2 new engineering courses, Principles of Engineering and Computer Integrated Manufacturing that I talked about that receives technology credit. And just to give you a really quick overview, we have been evaluating our CTE programs, and we are interested in having our CTE programs in the future branch off to college and career readiness. So right now we have a great program for the college readiness with the pre-engineering program, but we are interested in expanding our conversations and our partnership with Electric Boat. And there has been a little bit of backslide to that with the COVID currently happening, but we do want to continue talking to Electric Boat and kind of what we're interested in doing is give students option within the engineering CTE program to either pursue the college pathway, or if they are interested in pursuing the career pathway where they work with Electric Boat and are interested in doing internship and working with Electric Boat in the future, that we offer that option. So these 2 courses will allow us to branch off in the future with our CTE programs, and so we added those 2 in our program studies. And then the last piece is just a minor change. In our math department, we offer statistics and calculus CP class. We are just changing the format in the way we prepare students. So we have 2 The students are double blocked into these classes, and they receive instruction for statistics and calculus parallelly for the whole year. And so we're just changing the format to students receiving instruction for just statistics in the first semester, and in the second semester we will move from that to calculus, which is, again, it's the same number of credits, the material covered is the same, it's just a format difference. But I wanted to point that out because it was a slight change in the program of studies. And finally, we have quite a few other college credits that we added on to our program of studies last year, so we've updated that, and you can find that in the appendix on page 61 of the program of studies. So that's all I have for highlights, and I'm happy to answer any questions or any concerns that you have.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I have one question about the weighted GPA on the Success Academy. It probably is a silly question. Why does the weighted GPA not change at the lower grades, 60 to 63 and 64 to 66? I noticed it didn't change all the way up to 70 to 73 before. It's page 68. It's just curious.
Yeah, I guess it's just the way it falls, because if we did not repeat the 0.33 allocation, then they would get a 0, I guess, at the 60-63 level. At that point, the students still get to remediate the course, where they don't repeat the entire course, but remediate parts of the course. So we felt like they needed to get something and not a 0. So if that makes any sense. So because of the wide range of that, we had a little gap where we had to repeat the 0.33 credit for students that receive between 60 and 66, which is generally where the remediation falls.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. It's on our agenda to vote on a little later on. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next item we have are citizens' comments. So anyone who's new to the Zoom meeting, if you would like to make a comment in the participants tab, there is an item you can click on to raise your hand. If you do that, I will know that you want to speak. And I'll give a couple moments for anyone who would like the opportunity to do so. We do ask that you please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Don't see anyone, but I'll wait another moment. Okay. So next we have our consent agenda for routine items. Does anyone have any items? I'm sorry, I'm skipping something. Routine items, we have executive session. I need a motion to seal the executive session minutes of January 26, 2021.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Hildebrand.
Second.
And a second from Mr. Mather. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And I can disclose that no votes were taken in this evening's executive session. Now we're at the consent agenda. Anyone have any items they'd like exempted? I'm going to exempt item E1. Any others? Okay, then if I could have a motion to approve the non-exempted consent agenda items. Is that a motion, Ms. Lima?
No, I wanted the E2.
Oh, you want, okay, no. Well, there's no E2.
I was trying to find it. The second one with the bleachers, I wanted that one exempted.
Okay, so we'll exempt D2, okay. Any others? Okay, so back to where we were. I need a motion to approve the non-exempted consent agenda items.
So moved.
A motion from Ms. Hoskins. Is that a second?
I'm sorry. There's no thing to raise. I can't find the thing to raise your hand on the Zoom thing tonight. Is it?
Probably because you are a co-host and can just talk.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
Is that your only other question?
No, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I still need a second on the motion.
Second.
A second from Mr. Mather. Who made the motion? Sorry, I lost that.
Eddie.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we have different people. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. So the first exempted item is D2. If I could start by getting a motion to approve D2.
So moved.
I'll give the motion to Ms. Hoskins. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second, Mr. Mather. So, Ms. Lima, what was your question?
It wasn't a question, it was just more that I just wanted to comment, just so that anybody who's reading it knew that the bleachers wouldn't interfere with, and maybe it's just me because I'm new, that the bleacher repair wouldn't interfere with the actual, anything currently going on in the gym, that they would take place, outside of any activities currently scheduled. I just wanted to make sure that was known, because I didn't realize that.
Okay.
That was
Any other questions or discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. I'm going to make a motion for E1. So my motion is to approve the non-renewal of the 4 non-tenured teachers only, and we will table the other non-renewals that were in the agenda. If I could have a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. Hildebrand. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next is the approval of the high school program of studies. That's the presentation that we just heard. If I could have a motion to approve item F.
So moved.
We have a motion for Mr. Mather. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hildebrand.
Mr. Blasball,
Yes.
for discussion, I would just like to thank Ms. Finkelstein for a great presentation tonight, and Dr. Morse as well. It's a lot of work, that program of studies. It's a lot to oversee, and I know that they've done a ton of work to put this together and make it, user-friendly for our community. And a lot of thanks goes to the department heads of the high school, too. They have a lot to say in making this document. So thank you all for your hard work.
No, clear. Thank you very much. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Every time I read through the high school program of studies, it makes me feel more like I'm reading a college catalog than
Right.
a high school. I mean, the very proud of the options and courses and electives and everything that we have available to our students at the high school. It's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you all for your hard work.
Yeah, we don't say enough about how comprehensive that high school is and how much there is to offer for, people with just any kind of range of interests, from career in tech to the arts, to all, we offer just about every AP course you can run. So there's so much going on. Really happy to hear more about tonight with the electric boat partnerships that we have going on now. Those are things that we've been trying to do for years. So there's a lot of exciting stuff, and particularly in a year where we're dealing with COVID and everything, those kinds of things seem to get forgotten. So I'm glad we were able to spend this time tonight.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. On unfinished business, Mrs. King, anything on the 2021 school budget?
No.
21-22 school budget, we need to talk a little bit about, but do you have anything specific at this point? And I'll make some.
Nothing specific, no.
Okay, so we do need to approve that at our next meeting. We need to go through that budget packet. What I always say is, I say this every year, but we have new people too. If there's anything that you want to consider adding, deleting, changing, and you want to do that at our next meeting, we would ask that you please get in touch with Mrs. King in advance of doing that. And the reason for that is, one of the things that we need to approve is the actual bottom line dollar request from the town. So for example, if you were to make a suggestion that we eliminate this program, we can't do that at the last second because Mrs. King needs to run the numbers and figure out what the dollar effect of that change would be. So it's very important that, we don't spring something at the absolute last moment because that'll cause problems in improving the bottom line dollar amount. You're all welcome to, make any suggestions that you'd like. We just need to sort of forward those to Mrs. King so she can do, essentially a fiscal impact analysis of that change so that we can approve the budget with the change if that's what we want to do. We do need to do that at our next meeting so that we have everything into the town and align with the budget timeline that we've agreed to with the town. So, any questions on how that all works, or questions for Mrs. King before we move on? Okay. Next, CIP existing bond and future bond. Anything there?
I'd just like to say that at last night's town council meeting, Kim Page was appointed to the building committee for us, so that's good for us to know. I'll reach out to her for future meetings. And I also would like to thank Mr. Mather. He attended his first meeting, I think it was last week, or maybe it was the week before, for the building committee. So I appreciate his input and time for that meeting.
Thank you very much, and thank that committee for all of the hard work that it does. I mention it every once in a while, but that is a unpaid volunteer job that we have a lot of very experienced people in the building trades who work with Mrs. King and the administration in reviewing all of our construction projects and everything. And the input that they give is so valuable. I am not a construction engineer, people on that committee know far more about those things than I ever would, and their input is very, very valuable. So thank you to everyone who participates there. New business, we don't have any. The only thing left are the reports that are in your packets regarding disposal notifications and the cash reconciliations. Any questions on either of those reports? If not, we've reached the end of our agenda, and I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Mather.
Second.
Second from Ms. Hoskins. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Have a good
Night, everyone.
Aye.
Night. Hey, guys.